Over on the right is an okapi by that bamboo there. The okapi kind of looks like a relative of the zebra because they have those striped legs, but they are the closest living relative of the giraffe. They'll use their long prehensile tongues to grab leaves in the trees. Prehensile means finger-like, so they use their tongue like a finger to grab their food. On our left here is a greater kudu. There's also another one of those bongo. The greater kudu is one of the larger species of antelope found here on the reserve. That tan coloration that they have with the white stripes allows them to blend in with the sun's rays coming through the trees. It is a really great form of camouflage. Now you might have noticed that that kudu there did not have any horns, unlike the bongo. That's because only male greater kudu have horns, so that one there was a female. The kudu are a fairly social species. They will hang out in single gender groups of about between 3 and 10 individuals. This bird over here on our left is called a saddle-billed stork. They can reach up to 5 feet tall with a wingspan up to 9 feet wide. That is about as wide as the canopy is over our heads. They get their names from that yellow kind of saddle or shield shape on their bill. And the saddle-billed stork will mate for life. They work together to build their nest. You can tell apart male and female stork by the color of their eyes. So male stork have brown eyes, female stork have yellow eyes. There's a lot of bamboo around us here in the forest as well. Bamboo is a really great resource because it's very fast growing. So it's what we call a very renewable resource. It can be a really excellent alternative to things like traditional paper products. And we're going to make our way out of the forest now. We had some pretty good luck there. And we are going to head over towards the Safi River. Now, animals in the river can be found in or around the water, so we will just keep our eyes out here, look for any movement, shapes, ripples in the water, and we'll see what we can find. Now, on the right here, I do see some pink-backed pelicans, these gray birds. Looks like there's also a couple of Nile hippopotamus, that far right corner there. They're under the water. Remember, they were staying seated, my friends. Now, the pink-backed pelicans get their names from their pink backs, which get a bit of a brighter colored pink during their mating season. They're also colonial nesters, so that means they will nest in groups of up to 500 individuals, often nesting in the same location and even the same nest every year. And they are one of the largest species of flighted birds. Now, the Nile hippopotamus spend most of the day submerged under the water. They can hold their breath for about 8 minutes at a time. But even though hippos spend most of the day in the water, they do not swim. So instead, hippo will sink down to the river bottom, then either walk or run along the riverbed. That's where they get their name. Hippopotamus in Greek means river horse. Animals here in the river, like the hippo and pelican, rely on clean water for survival. So to protect them, we can use environmentally friendly chemicals, dispose of waste properly. That helps to keep water sources clean for the animals here. It looks like there's some more of those hippo hanging out by that back waterfall there on our left. A group of hippo is called a float. Our last stop in the river here is known as Crocodile Bridge, so we will keep our eyes out below us for any Nile crocodile. Nile crocodile are the largest reptile in Africa. They can reach about 16 feet long. That is about as long as a giraffe is tall. We're going to make our way out of the Safi River now, and it looks like we are heading over towards the savannah. The savannah is a rather different type of ecosystem. It is very wide, very open. It's also very dry. Animals in the savannah are adapted for speed, agility, and safety in numbers. And that's why many animals that we might spot out here are often seen in herds or groups. This big tree that is coming up here on our right is called a baobab tree. It goes by a couple of other names. One of those is the upside down tree. That's because its branches kind of look like roots. The baobab stores thousands of gallons of water in its trunk, so that also gives it the name the tree of life. To conserve the water that it stores, the baobab does not grow leaves for about 9 months of the year. It is very important to this ecosystem. Elephants use their tusks to pierce the trunk of the tree, and when they do that, they're creating holes in the trunk. Other animals can then drink that water. Now that is so important to the savanna because this ecosystem receives very little rainfall throughout the year. Many animals out here make migrations or movements in search of water. Now as we come down here into the savanna, there on the right is a Maasai giraffe. A Maasai giraffe can reach about 18 to 20 feet tall once they are fully grown. A baby is about 6 feet tall when it's born. That is about the height of where we're sitting in this truck. So if a baby giraffe walked up to us here, its head would kind of just barely reach the bottom of the windows. Maasai giraffe do spend around 20 hours of the day eating. They only sleep 30 minutes of the day. And when they sleep, it's not for 30 minutes at once. Instead, they take naps of just a minute or two throughout the day. And to do that, giraffes don't sleep laying down. So they either sleep standing up or sitting, and that helps to protect their neck. Now on our left here, there's a couple of African painted dogs. They're a little tricky to spot. They're laying down kind of at the base of that small green tree there, just to the right of that small green tree. The painted dogs are the most successful predator in Africa, more successful than a lion or a cheetah in their hunts, and that is due to their endurance. They hunt as a pack led by an alpha male and female. They get their names from those kind of paint-like splotches on their coats. Now also here on our left are some sable antelope. They're brown, they have backward-facing horns. Sable antelope are the emblem of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. And that is because when in a situation of fight or flight, the sable antelope will always choose to fight. Just as we here in Harambe will always choose to fight for conservation. Now looks like ahead of us on the left, we'll get a good look at a couple more of those Maasai giraffe. And just like the okapi, giraffes have that long, prehensile or finger-like tongue that they use to eat. That's one way we know giraffe and okapi are related. And that giraffe's tongue is, for one thing, purple, and that's so it doesn't get sunburnt while they eat 20 hours of the day. It's also 18 inches long. That is about from the tip of your longest finger to your elbow. Look at the spots on a Maasai giraffe. You'll see they're kind of jagged or irregular shaped. It's almost like a puzzle piece. It's different from other species of giraffe that have more kind of rounded spots. So it's just one way that you can tell those different species apart. A giraffe's spots are unique to the individual. So their spots are also one way that you can tell individual giraffe apart. Up ahead of us here, looks like there are some Hartman's Mountain zebra. There are also some gray antelope here on our right. Those are the wildebeest. Now, as you may guess by their name, these zebra are adapted for life in the mountains. So they have small and kind of pointy hooves that allow them to climb on rocks. A zebra's stripes are unique to the individual, kind of like a human's fingerprint. So when a baby zebra is born, it will imprint on its mother's stripes, and that's how it can identify her in a really big group of zebra. A group of zebra, call it dazzle. And those wildebeest there are the second most densely populated mammal on Earth after humans. They make a migration up to 1,000 miles a year in search of water. When wildebeest make their migration, they'll do so in a herd of up to 1.5 million wildebeest, and that is a part of what's known as the Great Migration. Now, up ahead of us here are some broken down trees. That's a great sign we're entering into the territory of some larger animals like elephants. see an elephant over there on our right. Look all the way at the back there. That is an African elephant. They are the largest land animal on Earth. Now, a male elephant can weigh up to 13,000 pounds, and a female can weigh up to 8,000 pounds. Elephants are a highly intelligent, highly social species. They use their trunks to eat. They also use them to throw sand, mud, dirt, water on their backs. They use them to drink. Now, another really cool thing about elephants' trunks, they've got more muscles in that trunk than you do in your entire body, just in their trunk. Up ahead of us, there are also some greater flamingos. They're going to be over on the left. And they get the name greater flamingo because they are the largest species of flamingo. They can reach about 5 feet tall. They are also the palest or the lightest color pink of all flamingo species. They get that pink coloration from the beta carotene in the brine shrimp that they eat. So flamingo hatch gray. And speaking of hatching, looks like some of those flamingo there are nesting. They are sitting on some nests over there. The flamingo are filter feeders. That means they'll use their beaks like a food strainer to get that shrimp out of the water. That's why you might see them with their entire head in the water like these close to us here when they're eating. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyant tree, another one a little bit higher up on that hill. And the cheetah are the fastest land animal on Earth. They can run up to 60 miles per hour. And they'll use their tails for balance when they're running. That helps them to make really sharp. Male ostrich, you can tell because they've got gray feathers. Male ostrich have black feathers. They're one of 5 species of rhino. They're a very social species, so they like to hang out in these groups. And a group of rhinos, it's called a crash. Now they get their name from the mispronunciation of the Afrikaans word weit, which means wide instead of white. It's because they have that really wide mouth that allows them to eat more food at a time. Over on the left, there's another white rhino, and there are some warthogs. The warthogs are excellent burrowers. They're one of the largest burrowing animals. When they go into their burrows, they back into them so that their tusks stick out. And that is a really great defense mechanism for them. There's one coming out of that burrow there. Now both male and female warthogs do have those tusks. Now the rhino here don't have the best eyesight. They can only see about 10 feet in front of them, but they make up for it with an excellent sense of sound. So you might notice that they can move each of their ears individually. It's almost like a horse, and that gives them a panoramic range of sound. Kind of looks like he wants to cross the road here, so I'm going to give him a second. All right. We'll just hang out. It's looking pretty muddy there. All right, now he's over on our right. Now the ostrich that we saw back there do have wings, but they don't fly, so instead they use their wings for balance when they run. Over on the right, looks like there's a nest of ostrich eggs by those tall grasses. Now, ostrich eggs weigh about 2 to 3 pounds each. That's about as much as 2 dozen chicken eggs. And the shell of their egg is so strong that you arrived are some Nigerian dwarf goats that do live here at the Warden's Post, or on top of the Warden's Post. They are the one of 2 domestic species found here on the reserve. They're dairy goats, so they provide the warden with milk and with cheese. They also